I did not know that AWS is so mature in this area. It's really impressive. Hello. It's Jacob Hill with GRC Academy. Today I'm here with Mr. Travis Goldbach. Travis, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today, Jacob.
Thank you so much for coming on. And folks, if you're enjoying the podcast, please take a moment to like, comment, share, subscribe, review, all of those great things. Helps me out. Thanks in advance. Travis, tell us about yourself. How'd you get to where you are today?
It dates back over 15 years of cybersecurity and compliance expertise, specializing really in managed security services through different leadership roles at major managed security service providers, including TrustWave, NTT Security, Dimension Data, and DXC Technology, just to name a few. Today, I'm at AWS, Amazon Web Services. What really got me here was prior to AWS, I was leading aerospace, defense, cybersecurity sales, directing a team of cybersecurity consultants who really specialized in building robust security programs, to a position where I basically became their CMMC program lead after identifying increased inquiries around CMMC and what that program was going to be from some of those major prime contractors. During that time, I was able to obtain my register practitioner training certification to really enhance customer support and internal team guidance, establishing myself as one of the organization's key CMMC authorities. So that's really how I got here today. What I'm doing now at AWS is more at a go-to-market level. So I lead our go-to-market strategy and execution. I oversee our controlled working environment, and that's where AWS and Amazon team members handle CUI and SCI for customers to ensure really that they're meeting those requirements of the current and upcoming requirements of CMMC. I also develop a market analysis, product positioning, sales enablement programs while establishing customer feedback to really ensure that we're baking that back into our go-to-market approach.
What year would you say you actually started with the CMMC focus at AWS?
2021. So I'm coming up on like my 4-year anniversary here soon. But from a CMMC perspective, there was 2 years before that when really Katie Harrington was sending out the information on this new program, and I had to get involved because I was interested.
I'm very excited to hear about AWS and how it can help with CMMC. So talk to us about that.
Here at AWS, our strategy is focusing around AWS and our partners, providing solutions to help customers accelerate their CMMC journey while reducing that level of effort and risk. And we're doing that in many ways, some of that being all on AWS, but obviously we can't do everything on our own. So then we bring in partners to help support us. So this is what our CMMC portfolio looks like. And really it starts with our core region infrastructure. So security at AWS is within our core region infrastructure, which is custom built for the cloud and designed to meet some of the most stringent security requirements in the world. Our infrastructure is monitored 24/7 to help ensure confidentiality, integrity, and the availability of customer data. And all of that data that's flowing across the AWS network that interconnects with our data centers and our regions is automatically encrypted at the physical layer before it leaves our secured facilities. So customers can build on some of the most secure infrastructure, always knowing that they'll have control of their data, including the availability to encrypt it, move it, and manage retention at any time. So with our regions, DIB customers are starting to inherit those controls from a physical, environmental perspective, media protection, maintenance, contingency planning, if we're looking at it from a CMMC and FedRAMP perspective. Just above that, we have our AWS Cloud Services, and these are going to be services that are FedRAMP authorized to help customers meet that FedRAMP moderate equivalency. Obviously, these are authorized at FedRAMP moderate, so it goes above the equivalency. But all 117 of those AWS services that store customer data offer the availability to encrypt that data. Then we have different solutions that are available for our customers. And these are going to be solutions which will automate, reduce risk with deeply integrated services and artifacts, which we'll talk about a little bit more. I think we'll focus today on talking about our regions, our cloud services, and some of our solutions that we have available. With professional services and managed services, those are pretty self-explanatory. We can help design, architect, and build for customers or manage for a long-term or short-term. But when those team members are working with our customers that need to meet the NIST 800-171 requirements or handling CUI for them, they're actually working out of that controlled working environment that's gone through the independent assessment, showcasing that we have achieved and met all the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171. And now we're looking forward to the future and going through our CMMC assessment to ensure that we're also meeting those requirements with a C3PAO. To the right of that, we have our partner network. It's focused on 3 different areas of our partner network. The first area is our consulting partners. The second area is our technology partners. And the third area is our third-party assessors. So with that said, our consulting partners can help design, architect, build, migrate, manage on AWS, similar to our professional services and managed services, but we're very partner focused. So typically we go in that direction. And then we have our technology partners, which are software solutions hosted on or integrated with AWS. And then our assessment partners. And those are going to be assessment partners that can help from a FedRAMP authorization perspective, as well as a CMMC assessment perspective. A lot of those partners that we utilize as C3PAOs also have experience with helping customers previously through FedRAMP authorization. So they have a great understanding of CMMC and FedRAMP. And then to the right of that, we have our training program. So lots of free digital training courses, over 600 of those, where you can do a digital training course or a deep dive into a classroom training. We also created something called the Cloud Audit Academy for federal and DoD workloads. And this would actually teach how AWS services can assist with US federal and DoD compliance requirements. And this course was designed for customers who are operating with federal and DoD workloads, including auditors, assessors, regulators, compliance people, and anyone who is looking towards NIST 800-171, CMMC, and NIST 853. That was a 2-day course that we had customers sign up for, or partners sign up for, or anyone that was interested to take that 2-day course for free. We are planning on delivering that again this year. So something for everyone to take a look at. Finally, there is our enablement programs. So we have different enablement programs that will help customers design and accelerate their DFARS, NIST 800-171, CMMC migration onto AWS, working with some of our Amazon partners as well as our account team members.
You mentioned that you're going after CMMC certification as well. Now, obviously the requirements from a DFARS 7012 is the FedRAMP equivalency. Can you talk to us about the reasoning for going for a CMMC certification as well?
CMMC is obviously focused around the organizational effort implementing those NIST 800-171 controls. Right now, we're going for level 2, obviously, with looking forward to meeting level 3 requirements. But it's all about implementing the NIST 800-171 controls. And when you're utilizing a cloud service provider, ensuring that those cloud services meet that FedRAMP moderate baseline. So we are using some of our homegrown solutions that are FedRAMP authorized already at FedRAMP moderate and FedRAMP high.
Going back to the CMMC assessment, would all of those cloud services you mentioned be in scope of that assessment?
Or just the ones that we're utilizing within the environment would go into scope of that assessment. It wouldn't be the entire services that we have available for our customers because we're not utilizing all of those within our environment. We're utilizing different services that will go into that.
Got it. So yeah, it would be within the GovCloud or whatever the case may be.
Yes. I guess that kind of transitions nicely to really understand the 2 regions that we have available for our customers to build in. These are the regions that customers are utilizing to help support them on their CMMC journey. The first region is our commercial US East-West region. And this region will help customers meet that FedRAMP moderate authorization, as well as DoD SRG impact level 2. We have most of our customers actually going to GovCloud, and GovCloud is a fully isolated partition of the cloud. You're able to use your own separate identity and access management stack, and that environment is operated by US citizens on US soil. The reason why we have customers going that direction from a CMMC perspective is typically because of ITAR restrictions, or they also have additional restrictions around FedRAMP High or DoD SRG impact levels 4 and 5 for handling CUI on behalf of the government. So we've noticed that a lot of them are headed in that direction because of, we've noticed 61% of contracts also have ITAR restrictions within there. But there is 3 requirements for customers to gain access to AWS GovCloud. The first one is the root account holder must be a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. The company must be incorporated to do business with the U.S. and based on U.S. soil. And the third is we're going to do a background check with the State Department just to ensure that the organization and the root account holder is not barred from any export control regulations. So those are the 3 main requirements to gaining access to GovCloud. And we do have a FedRAMP package, which we'll talk about maybe a little bit later, to help support the inheritance and the customer responsibility when utilizing those environments. Because ultimately, when you're utilizing those environments, you're going to start inheriting some of the controls from a NIST 800-171 perspective or a FedRAMP perspective, and CMMC obviously as well, mainly around the physical protection, the media protection, the maintenance, and some access controls.
So I know in a Microsoft context, they also have their commercial and their GovClouds, and DFARS 7012 C through G, the incident response requirements are not supported in their commercial environment. How does that look like on the AWS side?
Yeah, so we can support customers both within our commercial East-West region and our GovCloud region. We're going to ultimately help with those requirements. And if customers need it, we have the documentation that's available.
Gotcha. So defense contractors, if they don't have any export control requirements, could operate out of the commercial cloud.
Correct. Yep. They can operate out of the commercial cloud. Ultimately, that'll help with meeting that FedRAMP moderate requirement. So within those environments, we have lots of different services everywhere from compute, storage, database, analytics, machine learning. And all of these services, you're able to see which region they're available in. So we have something called the region services and region page where you can see, is this service within GovCloud? Is this service within commercial East-West? Is it within other regions within AWS? So that gives customers a baseline to understand which services are within which region. So as they're building out their architecture, they can ensure that they have the proper services within those regions. Then we also have a services and scope by compliance regime page. So you're able to identify specifically, does this service meet FedRAMP moderate? Does this service meet FedRAMP high? Does this service meet the DoD SRG impact levels 2, 4, or 5? So we want to make sure that our customers are aware of that. And then we even have pricing calculators to help budget around different cost models so customers can understand what that cost would be when entering an agreement with AWS. But one of the key areas that our customers don't know that we have are our security, identity, and compliance solutions. And those solutions are actually going to align with the NIST cybersecurity framework for identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And then we even have compliance solutions and services that are available for customers to better understand what their requirements are and how to audit in the cloud. A lot of these services can be combined together into different solutions to help build out a specific landing zone where you can start from building a secure, scalable, multi-account environment. But we do have other solutions that are available as well for customers. Starting at the top there, we have AWS Conformance Packs. And Conformance Packs are going to be a collection of configuration rules that customers can utilize. A lot of customers are utilizing this if they're already built on AWS and they need to ensure their configuration is meeting those NIST 800-171 controls or CMMC level 1 and level 2 controls. But there's packs out there that will help customers do that from NIST 800-171, NIST 853 FedRAMP moderate, CMMC level 1 and 2, NIST 800-172 as well. So that's one of the first places customers start if they're already built on AWS. The second place that they'll look at as well is AWS Audit Manager. And this will allow you to audit your AWS usage. So basically, you'd select from a framework. So let's say NIST 800 171. Then you define your scope and boundary, whether that be internal AWS services or external solutions. Then you're able to run a report, and it's going to continuously gather evidence and showcase to you if you're ultimately meeting those requirements under the NIST 800 171. And then you can ultimately simplify that and understand areas that are non-compliant. And you're able to have different team members deep dive into that, ensure that they are meeting the requirements, and then produce evidence. So then you're able to have screenshots and information linking back to the evidence that is showing how you are meeting those requirements. So very important, I think, during the assessment process to be able to have that information, link back to it, show your assessor how you're meeting it. Just below that, we have AWS Quick Starts, and these are going to be automated reference deployments built by AWS as well as our solution architects and our partners. Those will reduce thousands of manual hours into just a few steps, give you different architecture diagrams, and allow you to continue to build within AWS. Those are available for different service offerings that we have, also for implementing different security solutions. Like Duo has one for single sign-on. We have one that's built around Active Directory. There's other ones around security monitoring. And then down at the bottom, Landing Zone Accelerator is considered a quick start as well, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But really a way that you can accelerate on AWS without having much experience.
Talk to us about the conformance packs a little bit more. Is it like a one-click configuration, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so it basically gives you the code to configure that environment appropriately. I wouldn't say it's one click. Some customers will need to do some additional manual configuration on their own, depending on how they're set up within that environment.
And then the quick starts. So when I think about a quick start, I almost think of like a pre-hardened image. Is that what that means? Or is it more in line with the AWS configurations of whatever you're setting up?
It's more in line with the AWS configurations that you're going to be setting up within your environment and with that specific security tool or service that you're utilizing, just to make it easier into just a few steps. And it'll have like information on how to do that, as well as the architecture diagrams that are available.
Yeah, this is great. I really love this because for small business with limited expertise, we need to make it as easy as possible to configure securely, to maintain over time. I really appreciate this work.
We have customers that are looking to govern and secure multi-account environments, so even multi-programs, or even if you're doing like advanced research, different researchers need to have different environments that they work in, different tool sets, different organizational units. Maybe one unit needs to meet CUI requirements. Maybe with the new executive order that came out, this unit needs to just meet NIST 800 171 requirements, and you're able to centralize that across your environment. So you're containing where your researchers can go and what information they have access to and what services that they have access to. And then you can put like a landing zone accelerator underneath that.
Hey folks, question for you. Do you know the status of your compliance controls right now? Like right now? We know that real-time visibility is critical for security, but when it comes to our GRC programs, we rely on point-in-time checks. But get this, more than 8,000 companies like Atlassian and Quora have continuous visibility into their controls with Vanta. Here's the gist. Vanta brings automation to evidence collection across 30 frameworks like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. They also centralize key workflows like policies, access reviews, and reporting, and help you get security questionnaires done 5 times faster with AI. Now that's a new way to GRC. Learn more about Vanta at vanta.com/GRC Academy. Now back to the episode.
With AWS, there's that shared responsibility model. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud. Customers are responsible for security in the cloud. But these are different artifacts that we have available. The first one is our Landing Zone Accelerator customer responsibility matrix, which showcases what you can inherit when utilizing that quick start solution. We have our customer compliance guides, which is service by service guidance to understand different security best practices that are mapped to those related controls. And then we have our FedRAMP customer package. And all of these are solutions that our customers are utilizing as they are trying to understand their shared responsibility model with AWS. If you go into your AWS console and you basically search for Artifact, you can search all these reports, download those for free, and have those at your fingertips to make it easier for you to understand. I want to dive into a couple of these so you can better understand what you'd be ultimately looking at from an artifact perspective. So this is an example of our customer compliance guides. As you can see on the left there, this is an Excel spreadsheet that you'd be able to filter through. I've filtered through Amazon Bedrock, but there's hundreds of services and features that you can filter through. Then you can filter through different security topics like access control, data storage, encryption at rest, encryption in transit, encryption in use, endpoint encryption, and then how those security topics relate to different control sets and different frameworks. So as you can see there, this is showcasing CMMC. Obviously, we're making the updates to reflect the updated control IDs from a CMMC perspective based off of the updated guidance. But on the right-hand side there, where you see CMMC, you're able to select from 16 other frameworks like NIST 800-171, NIST 853, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, HIPAA, ISO 27001, SOC 2 Type 2. And all it would do would change the related controls. The AWS customer compliance guidance would essentially stay the same, and the supporting service and features would stay the same as well. So a lot of customers are utilizing this because they need to understand those elements from a service by service perspective.
As you well know, in the CMMC assessment process, the newest version 2, in phase 1, if there's no customer responsibility matrix or shared responsibility matrix, that's a no-go. So it's great to see that you all have that to support this requirement. From a cloud service provider, that really should be the norm anyway. I think that managed service providers have more work to do there,
Yep.
But this is great to see.
I totally agree. And this is just one of those documents. The other one that we talked about was our FedRAMP customer package. That basically has 3 elements of information in there. It's a control implementation summary, summarizing federal and DoD control ownership. We have our customer responsibility matrix, which outlines the shared responsibility model, and then annual assessment approval letters from the FedRAMP board, summarizing authorization for our commercial East-West region at FedRAMP Moderate and our GovCloud region at FedRAMP High. This is simply what one of the FedRAMP customer packages, customer responsibility matrix, looks like. It's basically going through the different control IDs from a FedRAMP perspective, if it also is in line with the moderate baseline. So there's actually a package for FedRAMP Moderate, which would have this similar. And then if you can inherit it from AWS, so no, partial, yes. And this has all been verified by a 3PAO prior to getting that authorization. But I would really say the number one area, and we didn't talk about this much, where customers are really getting started in building out a secure foundation is with our Landing Zone Accelerator. Our Landing Zone Accelerator is going to be a secure, scalable, multi-account environment, which incorporates over 35 different AWS services. So many of those services that you saw within the security, identity, and compliance solutions. I would say think of this as building out a house. You need the foundation, you need the plumbing, you need the framing, you need the roof and the siding. Then there's different customers that have different needs. Some want a brand new kitchen, some want different colors in that kitchen, some want different colors on the outside of the house, and different rooms to support different needs. So basically, we're going to give you that foundation, and then you can customize it to the way that your organization needs. But you're able to build out this environment in days, not months or years. It's architected to align with AWS best practices, and we have documentation and support that's available for both our US East-West region and our GovCloud region. And this is what that Landing Zone Accelerator artifact looks like. So you'd be able to download this. We currently have it aligned with the CMMC level 2 practice IDs. Obviously, we're updating those practice IDs. Number one, to showcase level 1 requirements and the proper control IDs. Obviously, updating to level 2 because you can see L1 3.1.1 there. That's no longer part of the CMMC program. We've mapped it to NIST 800-171 and NIST 853. So when we do come out with another one, it will showcase the FAR 52.204.21, CMMC levels 1 and 2, updating NIST 853 to revision 5 and adding in ISO 27001. But essentially, it's going to be the same from a responsibility perspective. As you can see there, we have the practice statement and then how it's fulfilled. Is it fulfilled by AWS GovCloud or the commercial East-West region plus the landing zone accelerator? Is it a customer responsibility, or is it solely just you're inheriting it from AWS GovCloud? The services and the features that get spun up when you're utilizing the landing zone accelerator. And then really where our customers are getting the most out of this document is the last two sections. And that's going to be the configuration options and the AWS implementation details and operational responsibility. And then the customer implementation expectation and responsibility. So you can see there that there's different steps that customers need to take. And ultimately, when you establish those steps and basically bake it into the landing zone accelerator, you'd be able to take that information and put it back into your system security plan on how you're meeting those different control objectives.
So defense contractors, this is the document that they're looking for when it comes to the customer responsibility matrix that they need to see, right?
Exactly. And typically customers would utilize like the customer compliance guides, those CCGs on top of that for additional service by service guidance, as well as the FedRAMP package. So all of these are different solutions that our customers are utilizing.
Hey folks, you may not know this, but I'm also leading a CMMC compliance program at a defense contractor. There's a lot involved with CMMC, and I understand how it can feel overwhelming. I was there myself many years ago, but since then, I've created CMMC training focused on defense contractors. The training covers everything from DFARS contractual clauses to NIST 800-171A, and of course, CMMC. It's received over 100 5-star reviews and is certainly worth checking out. Find it at grcacademy.io. Now back to the episode.
So if we're looking at it from an inheritance perspective, this is basically everyone's favorite chart, and it's based off the landing zone accelerator. So 21 of those responsibilities are going to be on AWS. So you're going to inherit maintenance, media protection, physical protection, some access control. The other 79 are going to be a shared responsibility. So based off some of those services, there's still going to need some customer to have input in that shared responsibility. And then there's 10 customer responsibilities that are solely focused on them to implement. So this is different ways that customers are utilizing this document to understand that and utilize it for their CMMC program as a stepping stone.
I did not know that AWS is so mature in this area. It's really impressive.
Yeah, really trying to get the word out there over the last year, I would say, now that we have a program that we can really push forward and help our customers support them on their journey. I think last year I spoke at over 7 different conferences, did multiple webinars, and will continue doing that this year to ensure that everyone understands that AWS can help support you on your journey, and our partners can help support you as well. And I'm open to having conversations with anyone on how to do that, dive into more of these different solutions and services that we have available. I ultimately want to educate everyone on how to do that to make the defense industrial base successful with implementing these requirements, because it's really important for our warfighters.
Well, thank you, Travis, so much. I really appreciate your time. Anything else you'd like to leave us with?
I would just say if you need to reach out to me or call me, email me, feel free to do so. And also, thank you, Jacob, for having me on. I really appreciate you allowing me to talk about how AWS can support customers with their journey.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Hey, folks, hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and then check out this video.